all here to hear Dr. Ed Brenegar.
Thank you, Liza. I don't think it's a surprise to you if I'm to say that we are all in transition. And the world that we live in is in transition. The changes that are happening around us, not only locally, but globally, the things that are happening in our businesses, all call us to reflect and to think more deeply about the nature of leadership. I became interested in leadership over almost 35 years ago. And as I began to dig into it, I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like the ideas. I didn't like the mindset that leadership theorists were bringing to businesses. Because what I saw was that they saw leadership as a title or a role or a privilege in an organizational structure. And what it meant was that all these people that worked for them were simply followers. And what I found as I became a consultant 10, 12 years later was that the real problems in businesses had to do with how people actually functioned in their role in a business. And I think that's become more and more difficult. So I wrote this book after talking to a lot of people, doing a lot of consulting projects, reading a lot of books, spending lots of nights, lying awake in bed, typing into my phone my thoughts. You don't do that, do you? Type in your phone? And what I came to conclude is that there are two or three things that I'd like to communicate to you tonight. The first is that we are all in transition, which means that our lives are not stable. Our lives may be confusing. Our businesses also may not be going in the direction we thought they should go, and we're not quite sure what that means. That all this turmoil and whirlwind and crisis and chaos is actually a natural part of life. And then what we need to do is grab a different view of leadership. And so I define leadership as this in this way, that all leadership begins with personal initiative to create impact that makes a difference that matters. So whatever you're dealing with right now in your life, maybe you're stuck in a job that you don't really care about, but at least it pays the rent, and it pays the fuel, and it pays your ski lift tickets. Yeah. But you also know that something is missing, and you don't feel like you're contributing in the way that it really is representative of the talent that you know you have, or the desires that you have that you want to make a difference in the world. I have this conversation every day with people. They tell me about the things that they want, and they feel stymied by the way the world works. And so that's why I see this world that we live in as one of being in transition. That change is kind of the natural, normal thing that we're all having to deal with. So what I'd like to suggest to you is that one, it all starts with our own personal initiative. I think, Liza, when you suggested to me that I should do the startup intensive, and I showed up the next day, that was an example of personal initiative. Where's Jonathan and Alex? They're running for office, and that is an example of personal initiative where they're seeking to create impact that makes a difference that matters. All of you who have started a business, you have taken personal initiative to create something which you hope to have an impact in your industry, in your world, within your niche. You're all doing this. So it's not like taking personal initiative is something that is strange and alien to us. It's actually the most natural thing we do when we find something that we care about, something that we love. The challenge is that so many of the messages that we get from people is about us being big, taking on a big vision. You know, Jim Collins talks about our BHAG, our big, hairy, audacious goal. Well, what I have found is that that's not where we should start. Because what it does is it creates this sense that we're not good enough right now. That I have to be something else in order to be a person of impact. And I'm telling you, you don't have to be anything other than what you are right now. And you may not like who you are right now, but still there is something within you that says, I have something to offer to the world. I have something which matters. I have a desire. I have an idea. I have I'm angry about something, and that matters because I want to change something. So here's what I'd like to suggest you do. I want you to think about something tonight that you can do tomorrow. One little thing, a small thing. I was thinking about this morning, and the thought that crossed my mind is, I live over in Town Creek, which used to be called Ghettoville or something like that. You know where I'm talking about. Well, I walk the sidewalks there every day, and I see trash on the ground on occasion, and I'm thinking, if I take an initiative and pick that up, that's initiative I've taken today that I didn't take yesterday. It's a small little act that makes a difference, that matters, because it has improved the visual landscape of my neighborhood. It may be that there's someone that you know is having a hard time, and all they need is just someone to come and spend a half hour with them. Just chat with them. Create some kind of laughter with them, just as a way of relieving some of that pressure that they may be feeling about something. Or it may be that you have an idea that you really need to take a step on, and you don't know really what to do about that, and so you should sign up for the Startup Intensive. All these are ways that we, in the midst of all the change that we go through, we can take these kinds of steps and make a difference that matters. And let me give you an idea of one that I came across by watching Mike Rose Returning the Favor TV series on Facebook. And I don't know if you've seen this show, but you should watch it, because this show is talking about people who are circle of impact leaders. The first one I saw was about a guy over in Twin Falls, Idaho. And it was Christmas time, and some guys at his church says, we found that there's this family whose kids sleep on the floor, and we're going to build some bunk beds for them. So they got some lumber, they built the bunk beds, took them to the family, and these kids are now sleeping in a bunk bed. And they had some wood left over, so we said, let's build some more bunk beds. Let's find some more kids who are sleeping on the floor. Small little step, we're going to build a bunk bed for that one kid. Well, out of that has grown an organization, and I think it's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I think that's what it's called. And their mantra is, no child sleeps on the floor in our community. What a powerful idea. And when they videotaped this show a year and a half ago, there were 9 cities that had picked up this idea. So out of this little idea of building bunk beds came this now a big idea, which is they're going to take care of kids who are needy in their community by providing them beds. I know that each one of you has something like that within you. And I'm not suggesting you think about starting a business. All I'm suggesting is you think about starting something small where you're caring for someone. It may be something in your business. It may be something in our community. It may be something within your family. It may be something that's not here but somewhere else, overseas. Wherever it may be, you start small and then you grow that so that it can be big. Now, where does this fit into if you have a business? And this is, I think, where the real challenge for us is. Because all of us, on our own, can take personal initiative. All of us can decide, I'm going to go participate. I heard a presentation yesterday about working on habitat houses here. And I thought, what a great idea. Let's go participate in building habitat houses. That you take initiative, you go do that. But what if you have a business, and how do you take this idea that leadership begins with personal initiative, focused on creating impact? How do you take that into your business? This is how I see it happening. It means that you look at the people that work for you and you begin to have a conversation about who they are and what they are looking for from you. If you are the business owner, is that they're looking for you to trust them, that they know what to do, that they know their job. And I hear this a lot from people, that they do not feel that way. A lot of people who are in the lower echelons of a company do not feel that they are trusted. Trust is a big part of what we're talking about here. If we are building trust in a business, then the people are going to want to take personal initiative to solve problems. And they're going to want to take personal initiative to communicate with people, to communicate more broadly, to find out new ideas, to find out ways of solving those problems which seem to be intractable and very difficult to solve. And so you build a relationship structure within the company, within the organization, where people are trusting one another and they're respecting one another, and there's a sense of gratitude and freedom that comes with that. I worked with a large company about 10 years ago where this is what they did. They had been kind of in an Enron type scandal situation, and I came in to help them write a new value statement. The first day I was there, I said, "So how long has it been since you were a happy company?" And the president of the union said, 20 years. I said, "What was it like back then?" He says, "We were a family." Well, if you hear a business saying that they're like a family, it means they care about each other, that there's trust and the respect going on. He says, but that executive team destroyed all that. We want to get that back. And that's what they did. So they built a structure for training everyone to be problem solvers, simply solving problems. So when you take initiative, think about the fact that you may be solving a problem that someone else has. So this is what the circle of impact is all about. And I want to encourage you to believe that you have something to offer, that you have something to contribute. Because what I have found is that a lot of people do not believe this. They have been beaten down, life has been hard for them, and they have reached the point where they do not feel like there's anywhere else for them to go. And what they need is for us to say, I believe that you can do something that makes a difference, that matters. So this is what this book is about. I encourage you to read the book. Then I encourage you, obviously, to buy more copies of the book for your friends and your family, because when you begin to talk with them about the ideas that are in here, your relationships will change. There will be a transformational moment when you both begin to realize that there's something that's been missing that we can now capture. So this is a big idea, but it's also a small idea. It's simply, let's go do something simple and practical that makes a difference. And let's do it focused primarily locally, where we have an immediate response to what we're doing. And when we do that, then we can tell our stories. And someone, for example, I told you the story about the bunk bed organization. Well, what if someone in Colombia or in Germany sees that video and they say, we could do that here. That way, a local community impact can have a global reach. And I think that's where we're headed. The more we do locally and tell that story globally, the greater our ability to take care of the things that are important to us here in our community and in every community where people are. So, we're glad to take questions or comments. If you have a story that you can tell that encourages us, that something that you've done that is where you have taken initiative and you've seen something really positive come from it, tell us that story so we can all be encouraged by what you are doing, and we can say, yeah, we can do that too. Questions? Stories?
Thank you.
Thank you.